Hi guys, it's me Swastik, and this is the ultimate guide to select menus with Discord.py or Pycord. This video will teach you everything that there is about select menus, and after watching this video, you'll be able to make whatever you want using select menus. So let's begin. So first, let's take a look at the requirements. You'll need Python 3.8 or above. You'll need Discord.py 2.0 or above, or Pycord 2.0 or above. Now, in this video, I'll be using Pycord, but the select menus are almost exactly the same in Discord.py and Pycord. So everything I show you in this video will also be applicable to Discord.py. And some of you might not know this, but Discord.py was discontinued a few months back, but recently Danny started working on it again. So Discord.py 2.0 will also be released on PyPy soon. But as of recording this video, Discord.py 2.0 hasn't been released on PyPy, so you'll need to install it the same way through Git. So pip install git plus and the repo URL. And Pycord, however, again has not been released. The stable version has not been released on PyPy. However, the beta has been released. So you can do pip install Pycord, make sure there is this hyphen and then the version. Now I will put this in the description below so you can copy it directly and paste it in your terminal. Now if you're watching this in the future, this may not be applicable. Pycord or Discord.py 2.0 might have already been released on PyPy, so make sure you install it from there. Now next, you will need to know about Python and Discord.py. You should know the basics of object-oriented programming with Python and about Discord.py as well. And the final requirement is you must have watched the ultimate guide on buttons, which I released a few months back. This is because in that video I explained about views and interactions and buttons in depth, and knowing that will help you a lot in this video. In fact, I'll not be covering in depth about views or interactions in this video, so I'm expecting that you watch that video, and it will be in the description as well and in the card right now. And if you haven't watched it already, make sure you go and watch that, and then you can come back to this video. So before we begin to code, we should know about select menus. So let's take a look at it. Select menus are basically another type of message component, just like buttons, and they look like this, where once you click on the select menu, a drop-down shows up, and then you can select one or multiple items. And each item may have an emoji, a label, and a description. And you can have up to 25 items in a select menu. So let's move to our code and see how we'll send these select menus. So here I have a very simple bot in my main.py file, and I also have a config.py file, and in that I store the token and I import that in the main.py file, and then I run the bot with the token. And these are the imports: import discord and from discord.ext import commands. And I have a bot with this command prefix of these three arrows, and I have a simple command which will send hi when you send hello. So let's see how we'll create select menus. Now for that, we'll need to import the select class. So from discord.ui, we'll import select. This is exactly similar to how we imported button from discord.ui. And again, like button, you can also directly use discord.ui.select, but I prefer using select, so I'll be just doing that. And this is how you create an instance of the select class. Now let's store this in a variable, and let's look at the parameters that we can pass in. Now there are loads of parameters, but I'll explain them to you one by one. Let's start with the most important one, which is options. Options is a list of select options. Now if I show this to you, let me open Discord, and here is a select menu, and when you click on this, you'll see that there is a list of items. Each of these items is a select option with an emoji, a label, a description. So let's specify that. Now for that, you'll need to do discord.select option. Now what I'll do is actually move this to a separate line so that it's easier to see for us. And this is a class, so you'll need to specify some parameters here as well. The first one is label. Like I said, this is required, so let's say day, and next could be emoji. Now emoji can be, since I'm doing something like this day, I can have something for day, I guess sun rising or something. Maybe let's change this to like cloudy or something. And then there's the description. So description can be cloudy weather, can be anything that you want. All right, these are optional, by the way, emoji and description. You can just have the label. That's the only thing that is required. So let's stop here. I'll explain the other parameters in a bit. Let's add another select option. Let's call this rainy, and rain. This is fine. Let's say it's raining. And let's just stop at two options. Alright, so how do we send the select? Well, you'll need to use a view for that. So view will be a view, and we'll need to import this as well from discord.ui. Alright, and I'm hoping that you've already watched the buttons video by now, so I'm assuming you know how to use the view. So we'll basically add an item and we'll add the select. And again, if you're using Pycord, you can directly pass in these items in the view. So let's send this view. Hi, view can be view. Now let's change this to choose a weather. Alright, let's run the bot and see if this works. Python main.py, and let's open Discord. Let's type hello, and we get choose a weather, make a selection, and there you go. You can see that we have the cloudy weather and we have the rainy weather. And once we select, nothing will actually happen because we haven't specified a callback. We'll do that in a bit, but before that, let's see how you can make it say choose a language or choose a weather right in the select menu instead of it saying make a selection. For that, you can pass in a placeholder, indent this a bit, okay, so it's easier to see. Placeholder and make a selection is what it is by default. So instead, let's change this to choose a weather, and there needs to be a comma here, and this is basically how you can indent it so that it looks at least decent. This is still too long, so you'll probably have to do this as well, like separate each of these lines. So let's do that. It looks, I guess, cleaner like this. So that's it for the placeholder. Let's see if it works. And there you go. We get choose a weather, and then you can choose a weather as well. And by the way, you can also set a default. So what this does is it selects this option by default. So let's take a look at that as well. Now when I run this, you'll see that it's selected cloudy by default, and we can change this if we want, but it has selected cloudy by default. So now let's say you wanted to add more than one select in the same message. You can do that. You can create another select and add that to the view. You can just copy this one, right, and call it select 2, let's say, right, and you can change this to choose something else. Okay, now since I don't have much time, I'll just simply keep this the same, but you can change this, and we will add this as well. So view.add item select 2. So what happens is now there are two selects. So let's go back and run hello, and as you can see, we have two selects, and this could be separate as well. And there can be a maximum of 5 of these select menus in one message. And there is another parameter that lets you specify where it should be. So if you want this row to be number 2, and this if you want it to be above the previous one. So if you wanted to specify this, you can do that as well. So let's change this so that we can actually understand. Let's remove this default. Let's change this to candy. And for this, let's just have apple. And let's remove the descriptions as well. And I'll remove this as well. Alright, so now this select should be above this select. Let's see that as well. Hello. And there you go. This select is now above that other select. And here you can see them without the descriptions. Now there is another thing that you can do, which is I'm just going to remove the second one here, the second select. Now another parameter that you can pass in is min values and max values. So let's say that you wanted this select to be a multi-select. What I mean by that is basically you let the user select more than one option. So minimum values is basically if you have it at 1, they'll need to select at least one. If you have it at 2, they'll need to select at least 2 options. And max values could be the maximum number of values that you want. And let's say that you had 10 options and the question was, let's say, what do you like to do? And there could be many options like play video games or read books or code. And you want them to select at least 2 as interests. So you can do that by specifying minimum values and maximum values. So in order to just check that, let's have more options. Let's create another option, and what you should do is probably have it like this. Let's change this to sunny and sun. Alright, so there's three options. Let's have another one. And let's look at the emojis that we have for weather. I guess it could be thunderstorm or stormy just. Alright, let's see if we can select more than one option. So let's go here and run this command. And as you can see, cloudy was selected by default, so it showed up here. But we can select more than one and maximum of 4. As you can see, it's selected 4. You could have changed this as well and maybe only sent 1. This won't actually work though, because you need to select at least 2. So let's say we select rainy and stormy, and that will actually work. So that covers almost all the parameters that select and Discord.select option have. Now let's see how to actually respond when somebody clicks an option. Let's remove this row, and let's remove these for now. Let's make it a single select for now. Now there's 3 ways to receive a callback, just like you had with buttons. You can set the callback directly, so select.callback. You could subclass select, or you could subclass view. Let's start with setting the callback directly, which is the simplest thing to do. Select.callback. We'll set this to my callback. Now what is this my callback? Well, you'll need to define that. So async def my callback. Right, this takes in one parameter, that is the interaction, and you can await interaction the response dot send message. You chose this is select, so you'll have this select dot values, and we'll have the first value. Alright, so let me explain what it does. Now I've already talked about interactions in the previous video, so I do request you to watch that video, because if you don't watch that, it'll be really confusing. So basically, we'll respond to this interaction, and what they chose will actually be stored in this list, which is a list of values that has been selected by the user. So select.values is a list of values that the user selected, and we get the 0th index or the first element from this list because it's a single select, and once they select something, it will be stored in this values list. So let's see if it works. So I run the command, and let's choose a weather. Let's choose the sunny weather, and let's see if it works. There you go, it worked. You chose sunny. Now, as you can see, values is a list of strings. Now, what are these strings? These strings are basically the labels, alright? So you'll get a list of labels that they selected. And if you want, you can change this to min values and make it a multi-select. So min values 2, max values 4. Okay, now if I stop this, so what I'll do is instead of sending the first index, I'll send the entire list. Alright, so you can see, I think I made a mistake somewhere. Yes, I forgot a comma here. Let's run this again. So let's run this command, and let's choose 2 of these. Let's choose 3. So let's not choose cloudy, because why not? Let's choose rainy, sunny, and stormy. Or let's not choose sunny as well, rainy and stormy. Alright, so you see, we get this. We chose rainy and stormy. You could also do cloudy and sunny. You can choose all of them. Now we get rainy, stormy, cloudy, sunny. You can choose just cloudy and sunny if you want. And there you go. So it works. So with this you can access, so with this you can see what the user chose. Now you can do whatever you want to do with this. If you want to check, like select.values, the first one is stormy, maybe you want to do something like print, oh, you like thunderstorms. So you can check each of these options and do whatever you want to do. So you can also specify a value in the select option, value. All right, and value is basically what will be returned in this. So by default, it returns the label, right? Once this user selects something, once the user selects an option, it will return the label. But if you want it to return something other than the label, for example, you want Cloudy to have an ID like 0x1, right? If you want this to be the case, this value is never shown to the user. So this is secret, kind of, and only you have access to it. So if you want to use that, if select.values 0 is 0x1, so if you want to compare using IDs, you can do that. So you can say print Cloudy, right? Let's see. So if the first one is Cloudy, then it will say Cloudy. Let's run this. All right, so the first one is Cloudy. Let's select Stormy as well, and there you go. You get this 0x1 and Stormy. Now I think this is oh, we printed Cloudy. I thought I sent it, but anyways, we do get this in the console. So that's it. Now let's see what you should be actually doing. I don't prefer using this because every time you'll have to define a select and define a callback. What I like to do is subclass select, or I mostly prefer subclassing views. So let's first subclass select. So I'll remove all of this, okay? Before I remove that, what I'll do instead is first subclass select. So class my select. All right, and what I'll do is move this callback inside of the select and change this to callback self and interaction. All right, so instead of select.values, we'll check self.values and self.values, and we'll use this select instead of the default select, and we can remove this as well, and it should work exactly the way it worked before. Let's try again. Let's choose 3 of these, and let's see, and there you go, it worked the same way. Now you can move all of these options inside of the init as well. So def init, you can see it actually auto completed everything for me. Let's remove this, remove all of these, and let's move this as well. Let's copy these options here. All right, let's paste them here. Okay, I need to indent it a bit because this is not indented correctly. Okay, so now we have this my select, which you can actually name as like rain select or something. So we'll call this rain select as well, right? Now again, this is completely independent of the bot. So you can copy the select and use it in any bot that you want. You can have this select in a different file and you can import that into any bot that you want, because this part is basically independent of this part. This is why subclassing the select or even the view is a great idea, because it separates your UI logic from your command logic. So that's it for subclassing the select. And finally, you can subclass the view itself. So let's do that as well. You'll have to change this to subclassing the view. So class my view, let's call this my select view, all right. Now view, for that you'll have to do discord.ui.select. this time s should be small, and this is a decorator which has a callback. So let's take the callback, and the callback takes in self, the select, and interaction. And select here, you have to pass in all of these. All right, this is what you pass here, and again this is how you do that. You can remove this rain select. You don't need to do any of these add items if you're subclassing the view, because this will directly handle that. My select view, all right, and you have to call this select callback. All right, and instead of self, now this will again have to be select.values and select.values here as well. All right, let's see if this works, and this should also work the exact same way. And there you go. This worked the exact same way as well. Now there's two parameters that we haven't talked about yet: custom ID and disabled. Let's talk about disabled. It's quite easy to understand. Basically, you want your select to stop working when somebody has already selected an option. So you can do select.disabled equals true. All right, and you have to edit the interaction.response. So await interaction the response.edit message, and view equals self. All right, and for this instead you cannot use send message anymore because you've already responded once. You can do follow-up.send. All right, let's see. Let's select something. Now the select menu is disabled, you cannot use it anymore, and this follows up just as expected. Now finally we're left with custom ID. Now custom ID is the exact same as it is with buttons. All right, so if you haven't watched the buttons video, you should watch that because it's the same, so there's no point in doing the same thing twice. So before we end, we'll have to discuss about two more functions. These are add option and append option. So what it is basically, let's say once they select cloudy, you want to add another option instead of disabling. Let's say this time what you want is let's say we add another option. So how do we do that? How do we dynamically add options? You can do select.add option. All right, and this here, if you type into it, it would actually be better. So discord.ui.select. This will take the exact same parameters as discord.select option does. And another function that works in the exact same way is select.append option. Append option takes in a select option. So what you can do is discord.select option, and let's say we copy this one here, right? And let's say that you change this to I don't know, cool, and let's have the cool emoji. And you can have these parameters in this function as well. It's the exact same as doing this. So let's remove this and let's try this out as well. So let's run this command and let's see. Let's say we choose cloudy and sunny, and you'll see that we get this cool option as well. Now this won't work if we do it again because cool is already in there, so it will raise an error. Let's check. You see, nothing happens because it raises an error. So what you can do is check if cool in, let's use this list comprehension, x dot label for x in select dot options, right? So if it's already in there, so if it's not in there, then we'll do this. Otherwise, let's what can we do? Let's disable it. Okay, so once it's already there, let's disable it. So select disable true. Okay, so we can only do this once. Let's stop it. Let's run it again. Hello, and let's choose sunny, stormy, and now we can choose cool as well. Cool and sunny, but now it's disabled. And that's it. Now you know everything that there is about select menus, and you can be creative and create whatever you want. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below, or you can join my Discord server and you'll probably get help faster there. But make sure you follow the help rules once you join the server. The link will be in the description below. And for the next video, I think I'll make reaction roles with select menus and buttons, because I think it'll be a good exercise for you to practice once you know everything about buttons and select menus. So if you don't want to miss that, make sure you're subscribed. And if you like the video, make sure to hit the like button. It helps me out a lot. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll meet you next time. Goodbye.